I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They finish school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ibuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Okay, it's 16 minutes past 9 a.m. and I must say it's always a pleasure to have a date with you on this very radio dial every weekday when we get to congregate to look at the issues emanating from the country. And the program is The Polity, Thursday edition, 19th day of March 2026. We're glad to have you as usual, and of course, we thank you again once more for what you'll be doing for us, because we are here is because you are there. So we can't stop appreciating you for all the contributions you do make. And we believe that our relationship is going to continue for a long time. So welcome to today's program on Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha. My name is Franklin Ibuka. And what you do on The Polity is that we get to look at headlines on various newspapers and then do analysis on some of them, give you the room for you to join in this very conversation. Tony Olisambeki, the in-house analyst, is here. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning to you, Franklin Ebuka. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Anambra. Good morning, Ndi Onitsha Donidu. Good morning, Ndi Osumuhu. Good morning, Ndi Olwaka Oloyibo. Ndi Nanye Fobana Nanya. Ndi commuters, our market men and women, traders, everyone. Welcome different states, those who are in these states, the southeastern states, the northeastern, the southwest, the northwest, and also the south, and also the southwest as well, and even the north central. We welcome everyone to this very program. Remember, the mood is very high. We are in the mood of celebration. The first year anniversary is coming up, but that is the talk of the town. Everywhere you go, we've come back again. We are in the sanctuary to profess the truth, to always uphold and preserve the truth. We thank God Almighty for His mercy, for His love, for His kindness, for all He has been doing for us. We glorify Him forever. You're welcome. Sit back and enjoy the program.
Okay, so Tony, I don't know if you saw the interaction that happened between King Charles III and the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday when he was hosted to a state banquet. And while he was making his speech, King Charles, made lots of statements that trying to signify that he has a connection to Nigeria. At a point in time, he said, Niger no de carry last, and everybody, burst into laughter and what have you not. But from the banquet we saw that the two countries were talking about the same thing. They want to enhance their relationship when it comes to trade, commerce, and what have you not. And guess what? King Charles acknowledged the contributions of Nigerians in the UK in different sectors of the economy, saying that they have been wonderful heroes, if I'm going to use his words.
Well, statements and words are very cheap, there's no doubt, because we know that pleasantries like this, you expect them. It's not about saying that Nigerians are wonderful, Nigerians are good, Nigerians are great. What are the measures to show appreciation for all these things? Most of their visa restrictions, visa bans always affect Nigeria, and they keep stressing it. They don't want many Nigerians to come to UK. But here you have King Charles saying the Nigerians have contributed immensely to the growth and development of United Kingdom. How has the United Kingdom appreciated this contribution? Because we've seen the appreciation from the negative perspectives, especially their visa rules and visa restrictions, not just Nigeria, but we are looking at some African countries. What prevents UK to have a broad visa rule with Nigeria, not the one they have with the Chad and Niger Republic? They classify us the way they classify these countries. Even Cameroon, even Ghana, they have a better relationship with Ghana than Nigeria. There's no doubt. Britain colonized Ghana, and we know very well that they implanted the tribal issues we are having in this country. They did. They committed a lot of atrocities in Nigeria. They killed many people. We recall the time there was a judgment in Enugu where some workers were murdered in a cold blood by the British colonial masters. And the compensation, are they talking about that? Is Mr. President going to tell the king that there was a ruling in Nigeria on this issue? But I know that he may not have such place to be a place where such discussions will be made. I know very well that he has described the if you look at what King Charles said, that the partnership between Nigeria and UK is equal. It's not equal. That's a fallacy. He called that relationship a partnership of equals. That's not true. One is more like the boss. It's just what we call client-server relationship, as we usually have under internet technologies. You know, client-server architecture. One is client, one is server. In this case, Nigeria is client, and possibly they are the servers. But that's by the way. I'm just trying to use that as an analogy. But the truth is, the benefits are not mutual.
So is it the making of UK, or that Nigeria has not been able to measure up to the Committee of Nations, knowing where we are coming from?
We know very well that we have fundamental problem in this country, and that is the bane of our growth and development. Nigeria is a third world country, not even a developing country. No matter how we try to sugarcoat it, we have to tell ourselves the truth. King Charles was just praising Nigeria yesterday. There's no doubt, and you expect such kind of praises when he was saying that Nigerians are the heartbeat of British life. How can you say Nigerians are the heartbeat of British life in works, in statements, but not in practicals, but in theory? You are saying those things so that you will target more. Because for him to make this statement, there are things that are targeting. No doubt. When you brandish or label Nigeria as a major global player, in what sense? In what area? I'm not saying Nigeria and all those things anyway. But I'm saying that the way and manner he was saying those things shows that there is something UK is aiming. We have many of our qualified doctors working there, nurses working there, other professionals working there. We know before they come to their country, they subject them to routine verification, re-examination, certification, and some of these things. And many of them pass and they return them. So what is the working condition?
So Tony, if you look at some sectors of the UK economy and see how Nigerians are playing big there, would it be out of place to say that he's just targeting Nigeria? Let me give you an instance. If you come to the area of politics, you have Kemi Badenoch, who is a UK Secretary of State and the leading figure in British politics. They talk about Chiomura, Member of Parliament, and the former Shadow Minister. He's active in tech and also in innovation policies. You go to business and finance, we have Yemi Edun, a real estate mogul in that very country. Neka Blokwe, award-winning tech leader. I talk about Alim Abubakar. He's an influential person in terms of leadership development in UK-Africa business relationship. Then Akanimo Odo is also a UK-based consultant impacting on education, business development. Then we go to entertainment. John Boyega, the one we know. Hollywood actor, famous for, Star Wars and award-winning performances. What about Tiwa Savage of Nigeria? Of course, we know she was initially there before she came to Nigeria. Ben Okri, the Booker Prize-winning author, influencing UK literature. Sports, Anthony Joshua, Christian Ohuruagu, talk about the Olympic gold medalists in athletics then, and just a couple other persons we can talk about. If you go to the area of activism, education, we still have Nigerians there. So was he just being hyperbolic with what he was saying to Mr. President?
Well, I expect such statements and such praises at that kind of event, at that kind of place. And I'm just trying to recall certain realities, no doubt. And we are here talking about what Mr. President said to King Charles and what King Charles said to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But the truth remains that we have not seen some of these things well expressed or practicalized. All the names they called us, the global power player, being the heartbeat of British life, being this, being that, with enormous resources, and all these things the king said, very well acknowledged. These are pleasantries as usual. But I'm saying that as at February 25, 2026, Nigerians cannot have more visa sticker in passports. They cannot, in fact, their visa applications are restricted to some changes, like we have. You must have strong ties, because before you get to be given a visa, Nigerians must prove strong ties to Nigeria, job, business, family. You must have so many things. But we know very well that every country is very conscious about who comes into the country and who leaves the country. I'm understanding the other areas Nigerians have also committed atrocities, atrocious acts in UK. Yes, we are putting everything in balance. We are putting everything in perspective. It's just like this. One of the last we talked about this, we say that apart from President IB or head of state IBB, we've not had any other head of state or head of government who visited UK since we even came back to this president democratic dispensation in 1999. In all of Obasanjo's travel, did he travel to UK? I'm not sure he did. And that's why we're having this. Well, it is easier said than done. My concern is, what are we going to get out of this visit? What are those things lying in wait for us? What are we going to tap? Remember, King Charles is not the head of government. King Charles is not the head of government. He is a ceremonial leader. He has no influence. He does not control the House of Commons. He does not even he has no influence as far as that House of Commons is concerned. And there was a time I told the story about how Britain went into civil war when they wanted to detach the influence of monarchs from the affairs of the state. There was a time monarchs were the one deciding and running the government. It was something that pushed them into civil war. They wanted to outrightly banish monarchical system, but there were those that said, you know what, because of tradition, let's have them. But they have no role. All these praises King Charles is showering on Nigeria when he has no influence, when he has no control over those that decide the affairs of the states, means nothing for me.
Okay, what we just gave to you now, just to wet the ground before we get to bring the headlines we have this very morning on various newspapers. And I urge you to go to our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. The video is already up there. That video is for you to follow us. If you are outside the terrestrial area of our broadcast, that video can help you to watch and follow development, and as well drop your comment. And don't forget to share the video and also follow the page. We are also live on Instagram and our YouTube channels, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. So we urge you to use all these platforms to continue engagement on this very program.
You're listening to The Polity, Get involved now.
Okay, so let's look at the headlines now on these very papers. We have four of them: Tribune, Vanguard, Guardian, and the Punch newspapers. We'll begin with the headlines we have on Nigerian Tribune. The first headline here says Malam Fatori battle, military kills 80 ISWAP members in Borno. That story can be found on page 3 of the Tribune. It has a header that says take ownership of fight against Boko Haram, ISWAP. CDS tells Borno, Yobe people. Another headline says Wike's PDP faction meets, says convention day sacrosanct. That story is on page 3. It has a rider. I have not moved from PDP Bauchi governor. Sultan confirms Friday as Eid al-Fitr on page 6. Of course, federal government has already declared public holiday for that very celebration. UBA need come to unlock diaspora capital for Nigeria's growth on page 6. Maiduguri explosion, no cause justifies killing of innocent people, Shetima on page 25. CRNI abduction, police say 2 out of 4 cocoa farmers rescued on page 25 of Nigerian Tribune. The story has a writer that says 3 suspects arrested. Then another story we have inside the page of Tribune says Ebonyi government commence plans to regulate rent fees charged by house agent. You can see that inside the page of Nigeria Tribune. We move over to Vanguard newspaper to see the headlines. And this one says concerns of Nigerians will be addressed. The Senate is the one saying so. Insecurity, how Nigeria spent 32.8 trillion naira on defense in 15 years. That story can be found on page 5. It has riders defense gulps $44.641 billion or 12.5% of 262.834 trillion naira budget. Nigeria records over 100,000 violent deaths since 2012. NAS probes defense spending. CDS seeks stronger police civil defense collaborations. And this one says Senate reps target March 31st passage of our 58.47 trillion naira 2026 budget. Of course, that's quite interesting. We already almost done with the first half of the year, and we haven't passed the budget for 2026. Quite interesting. And this one says Eid al-Fitr, Sultan declares Friday as Shawwal 1, urges prayers on page 25. Why Amajiri are infiltrating Abuja on page 6. Maiduguri bombings, military chiefs arrive Borno after Tinubu's directive on page 9 of a Vanguard newspaper. We cross over to the Guardian. Guardian has some interesting stories. The big one says AU rallies support against terrorism as CDS decries enemies within. On page 6, can we fish out those enemies within so that we'll be able to deal with the issues of insecurity in Nigeria? PDP plans for convention despite internal conciliation talks. The story is on page 3. I must say that the Wike faction is actually moving gradually to ensure that they take over the structure of PDP, because they've been going around state conducting congresses or electing interim committees to take over in different states, even in Plateau State. Then this one says Africa's public debt near $1.2 trillion amid refinance burden, fiscal shocks. The story can be found on page 18. State police gains momentum as Barrow meets committee, promises safeguards on page 3. Tinubu King Charles hold interfaith dialogue, deepens ties on page 6. Ministry's operations books open for probe, says Omahi on page 7. I'm just hoping that somebody will be able to bring the attention of the Minister of Works, David Omahi, to the state of Onitsha Road. In fact, on Monday, I sent a mail to his media aide. What's his name again? Francis Nweze. Trying to see if we'll be able to get a time to talk with him, because if you apply that very road, in fact, the Anambra section of Onitsha Road is gone. And I don't know how long it's going to take for us to handle that, because if you cannot handle it while we have a minister of works from the southeast, I don't know when we're going to have that very chance to deal with it. Ramadan ends today as Saudi Arabia's Sultan declared Friday Eid al-Fitr. The story is on page 2. Another story says FG to transform correctional centers into food production hubs. The story is on page 30. Should I laugh about this very one? You know, they will say big dreams, but sometimes when it gets to delivery, we get a falter. We used to call them prisons, and they said that prisons was somehow associated with confinement, where people are subjected to different kinds of maltreatment. And they said the best thing is to change it to correctional center so that it will represent what it's supposed to be. We have changed it to correctional center. What has changed? Nothing. It's still the same old story. Then another headline says Lagos 6 aides commissioners set to resign for 2027 elections. That story is on page 5. So that is the season now. Mr. President has opened the floodgates, and we have seen Lagos State saying the same thing. We have seen Cross River State asking those who have political ambition for them to resign before March 31st and go and pursue their political ambition. And in the presidency, we learned that Adelabu might be leaving because he has interest to contest for governorship. I'm talking about the minister of power. Okay, so these are the headlines we have on the front page of Guardian. We cross over to the Punch, and the big story there says Nigeria Britain set for fresh security alliance on page 2. It has riders. Tinubu pushes for fresh security pact at state banquet. President meets British Prime Minister today. President says Nigeria poised to play bigger role in Commonwealth. Hints on Nigeria's link with a UK health system. UK gave me refuge, police protection during military rule. Tinubu tells British monarch. Sultan declares Friday Eid. Police NSCDC mobilize on page 7. Highway danger. Oyo students beg FEMA for speed breakers on page 21. Imported petrol undercut. Okay. Imported petrol undercut local supply by 94 naira on page 21. Medicine shortages loom amid US-Iran conflict on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Nigerian students arrested with 49 million cocaine in South Africa. The story is on page 4. And this brings to 4 the one that happened over the weekend where a 74-year-old man was arrested with cocaine worth 11 kg. He was on his way to UK for holiday when he was intercepted at the airport, and when his bag was searched, cocaine was found sandwiched inside a foodstuff. And I was watching the man, 74-year-old man. I was wondering whether he was set up by somebody, or maybe somebody gave him something to deliver without him knowing what was the content. AFCON global outrage as CAF hands Senegal. AFCON global outrage as CAF hands Senegal's cup to Morocco on page 3. We talked about this yesterday. And the last story we have on the front page of the Punch says 24 billion naira public projects abandoned in state, according to a report on page 22 of the Punch newspaper. So these are the headlines we have this very morning. We are going to begin the analysis. Stay with us.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, you are listening to The Polity on Udala Radio 4.7 FM. It's 9:37 a.m. My name is Franklin Ebekatonio Lisambekis with me, and we are bringing this very program from Onitsha, the commercial now center of Anambra State, the base of Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Don't forget that we are live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM, on Instagram and YouTube, Udala Radio. Let's get interactive on those platforms. Anthony, we'll begin from Anambra State here because two things happened yesterday, and it's good that we get to point them out. Or okay, let me say three. Yes, three. Two happened within the circles of Anambra State government, and one happened within the circles of Idemili North local government area of Anambra State. Yesterday, the authorities of Idemili North local government area, took a step by deciding to rename Linka Road. The one we have known for a long time as Linka Road. That road that links Mbo Junction with a Six Mausoleum, St. Charles Borromeo roundabout, and then from there you can connect to Bosi, connect to the old road, Enugu Onitsha Road. Now, they have renamed the road after former Commonwealth Secretary General, talking about Chief Emeka Anyoko. It was done yesterday, and that event happened at Mbo Junction, where the Idemili Local Government Area Council Chairman Stanley Walker, he said that renaming is a tribute to Anyoko's selfless contributions and as a way of, inspiring you to emulate his values, his work ethics, and then his commitment to excellence. So they say that henceforth, that road is going to be known as Ichie Emeka Anyoko Road. And this adds to what was done in Oka, because in Oka, the road that leads to the government house, new government house, is known as Chief Anyoko Boulevard. So how good it is to do such? Do you think that renaming Linka Road after him, is going to bring this kind of situation we had in Lagos, whereby a bus stop was renamed? Initially, it was known as a Charlie Boy bus stop, but later it was renamed for whatever reason. But people still know it as Charlie Boy bus stop.
Well, the local government, just as we know very well, they have broader powers. They have powers to give street names and also give names to different roads. These things are what we refer as residual powers. They have local taxes and other things associated with that. So do they have such powers to do what they did? The answer is yes, but it must be done in the interest of the public. You don't do things based on your own primordial thoughts or based on your either affiliation or whatever you may have it. But the truth remains that the man in question is well respected in Igbo land, and the man deserves the honor. But so there are some people, remember the Limca Road, the original name is Mpo Road, but some, for one reason or the other, decide to call it Limca Road. In this case, some would say the man in question, I know, is from Obosi, and is known as Adazie Obosi. And also there are things, Obosi and Mpo, they share common boundary. And I know sometimes they have land disputes. And that very road, there were times there were clashes where Mpo people and the Obosi people will be clashing over who owns what, who gets what. The boundary demarcation, the boundary adjustment, and so many things. You may not even believe it. In fact, at a point, Onitsha got involved. Even the Zikma Zulu, we are told that one Onitsha family, owns it. There have been stories told. I don't want to get into this because there are, once you will say, somebody will come and say, or was it what he was told? Who told you this? But we are just looking at it from different angle, from different perspective, how it came about and what we know about it. Why that road was known as Limca Road? It was not coined by the local government. It came directly from a soft drink brand, a product of the Nigerian bottling company. They had a factory there. It became popular to the point that people would want to refer that very road by the company that was there. I remember, I could recall many years back, the brand in question was so popular to the point that people were blinded about the fact that that road originally was known as Mpo Road. But I'm aware that over time, people started calling it that name, and you can even see some billboards, owning up to that very popularity. He has been there for a very long time, no doubt, many years back. We don't want to just go deep into the history.
So do you see the action taken by the authorities of the local government area in any way breeding any kind of animosity, or people beginning to question the propriety of the action? Do you see that happening? But before then, do you think that it's an honor due to Chief Anyaoku?
If a big honor, not just that, we've had other monuments we can also name after him. Look at Chino Achebe International Airport. He brought honor to Anambra State. Chino Achebe, a world figure, talked about in many places. The book Things Fall Apart he wrote in 1958, translated into more than 100 languages. When book translation in different languages were not rampant, that is just that. And we're looking at Emeka Anyaoku, former Commonwealth Secretary General, a diplomat, a career diplomat, who has also brought honor, not just to Anambra State, but to Nigeria. And you are asking naming a road, either you call it Mpo Road, or whether you call it Limca Road, after him, it's not even enough. If you ask me, it's not even enough. You didn't know how this man fought for democracy under Abacha. It was Emeka Anyaoku that demanded he would see those that were incarcerated by Abacha during Abacha junta. Abiola was the man he wanted to see. And Abacha swore that no one would see Abiola in detention. It's a no-go area under Abacha regime. But this man came as a sitting Commonwealth Secretary General and told me, I want to see Abiola. He told him he cannot see Abiola. Abacha told Emeka Anyaoku. Emeka Anyaoku reminded him the implication, the consequences, the insinuations that seeing him alone would do him Abacha good and will save him from what was to come. Abacha didn't understand the language. And he gave Abacha time. He gave Abacha time. Before you know it, before he could walk out of Abacha, Abacha called him back. You can have Abiola. You can go and see him. You can imagine how many people will stand before Abacha and talk to Abacha in that way. The man is a man of ideology. He was the only one Abacha asked, go and have him, go and see him. That was, I wouldn't go deep into that story. Another incident, when Obasanjo stripped Ibeto of his franchise, his license, cement license, citing a lot of irregularities, a lot of changes, new policy reformations and all that. Ibeto ran to Emeka Anyaoku. Emeka Anyaoku went to see Obasanjo as a sitting president. He met him in the villa and told Obasanjo, you cannot approbate and deprobate. You were the one that gave the license, and you're the one withdrawing the license over what? With this humongous investment made and loans taken from banks sunk in the air. You know the implication. He was actually shouting at Obasanjo as a president. Obasanjo reminded him, if he was aware that he was the president, Obasanjo reminded Emeka Anyaoku, you know you are speaking to the president of the Federal Republic. Emeka Anyaoku told him, he has seen presidents, he has spoken to presidents, he has spoken to world leaders, world powers. I'm telling him that being a president of Nigeria, it does not in any way invalidate, does not in any way change the fact that he cannot approbate and reprobate. And I wouldn't want to go deep into the story. I'm just trying to tell you the character of the man, Emeka Anyaoku.
Okay, so do you see that renaming of that very road in any way bring any kind of misunderstanding between the two communities you referenced?
Well, he cannot, because we're seeing streets named after prominent Igbo people. If you go to Ebonyi State, if you go to Enugu State, if you go to Abia State, you will see street like Okadibo Street, Okadibo Road, even when they are not from those states. If you come down here, we've seen even there's this one along the Creek Road. These are names given during the colonial days. Okuno. These are foreign nationals. Their names. Are they here? Or many of them are dead anyway. But you ask, even when they were given this, they had a stint here. Miss Arms, road or street, many of these, but they did one thing or the other. The truth is, street is not, or roads are not generally named because you are from that area. It's about the impact you have made within that locality. As Emeka Anyoko made impact within the Idemili, he's from Idemili North. Has he made impact? If not for him, he has brought peace, he has doused a lot of tension, he has doused a lot of things. Igbos Mado. This is one man that whenever Igbos are taunted, Igbos are tormented, he goes out to the person, to the tormentor, and speak to the tormentor and say, see, is enough, is enough. He is still doing it. Even when we know, as we speak now, he should be about 90-something years. I'm aware that Emeka Anyoko was born somewhere around January 18, 1933. And that takes him to about 90-something years. Okay, and he's still waxing strong.
So, Tony, we have to talk about another thing that happened yesterday.
Okay,
so that we don't exhaust our time on this very word. Just stay with us, we'll be right back. Okay, thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You are listening to the Polity. My name is Franklin Antonio Disambeki has been responding to questions. So let's talk about another thing that happened yesterday in Anambra State. We can recall that some weeks back, the governor of Anambra State set up a commission of inquiry to look into the disputes surrounding the traditional stool of Oka. And yesterday, that committee, came to the government house to present a report of the work he has done. The committee said that he has finished the work given to them. They spent about 2 to 3 weeks doing some rigorous sittings, and according to them, during that very sitting, they received 32 memoranda and the 28 oral testimonies. Now, if you look at the report which was presented by the chairman of that very commission, talking about retired Justice Paul Vidigwe, and he said that they were able to establish that Chief Gibson Wosu was not lawfully dethroned, as there were no legal grounds for his removal, and neither was he given any fair hearing. They said they also observed that Chief Austin Dibwe, who has been, seeing himself as the traditional law of Oka, that he was not in any way lawfully selected in accordance with due process and statutory requirements. And after he received that very report, the Governor Chukwuma Soludo, he said that he's going to study the recommendations, the findings of that very report, and then government is going to issue a white paper on the traditional stool of Oka. Now, he said that what he's going to do is going to serve as a lesson and a signal to other communities where they have different people or two persons laying claim to the traditional stool. And now let's get to the issue. And the issue now is that now that this job has been concluded, findings submitted, what do you think is going to happen next? Sometime it was the government telling Ndigwe Nakulu. So this time around, is it going to be Nakulu again or Nanyefe? What do you see happening?
Well, we have discussed this before now, because we are talking about tradition. Franklin, you have to permit me, and the listeners, everybody needs to. In fact, everyone should permit me so that I can mix Igbo with it. Because once we talk about tradition, there are things we must. So everybody, I'm seeking for the listeners' permission so that we can get it right. Yes, Paul Obidigwe, retired justice, they did a marvelous work. I listened to him yesterday, where he said that they invited, of course, they had about 32 memoranda and about how many witnesses, verbal witnesses that testified before their commission of inquiry. Their commission is to find out. That's why it's called commission of inquiry. To inquire, to get to the root of the stew or the kingship stew problem in Awka that started in 2017. That's when it started. Over a lot of things being said, we've talked about a man, Igwe Gibson Wosu. We've discussed how he was dethroned illegally, and I'm also adding criminally.
Was he actually dethroned?
When something was done illegally, it's not dethronement, but there was an attempt. There were those who felt that they don't even understand the 2007 Anambra State traditional rulers law. They don't even understand. If you go to that very law, that law details how an Igwe can be removed. They don't even understand the procedure, the process of removing Igwe. Most times, that's why if you are electing Igwe, you have to be careful. Once he's issued certificate of recognition, his removal is not entirely in the hands of the community. Go and read Anambra State Traditional Rulers Law 2007. His removal, his appointment, or his ascension is in the hands of the community. Totally. Government is to observe and ensure that every process is right. That's what government does during ascension to the throne. But during removal, it's no more entirely in the hands of the community. I'm going to come back to that. Ignorance of the law is never an excuse. I must be very frank with you, Franklin. That is one. And secondly, we must look at the issues. I listened to the report of Obidigwe panel, Justice Obidigwe retired. I listened to his reports, and it also aligned with all we knew and all we still know about this issue. All it perfectly aligned. Which one did not align? Every one of them aligned. Why they began what they began sometime in 2017. That was when the whole thing started. And the complaints they raised that made them to took the path. I'm talking about those that said that they dethroned Igwe Gibson Wosu. How they went about it, the way and manner they executed what they executed. Just like I said, it was on a particular I think it was Easter, Good Friday, a particular Good Friday of 2017, that this section of people pronounced him dethroned. And look at the allegations. They said one, why they dethroned him, that he breached the Awka amended Constitution of 1986 and also Code of Conduct he signed in 2000 as a condition for his recognition. That's the one allegation, that he breached the Awka amended Constitution. Then the second one, that he supports for or tolerance for the dust-to-dust Catholic burial rites for deceased spouses. Awka believes that, according to this group, that a man is not supposed to, during burial, iwelo aja ikwe nini, aja kaibo, that kind of ritual, dust to dust ritual, that we are from dust and onto dust. We are also heading back to that ritual that Awka as a traditional and a term that is so much concerned about culture. It is an abomination for any spouse to cast sand in the grave of a spouse. but it's something that Catholics are known for. During burial service or burial mass, the priest will give the shovel to either the man who is burying the wife, or they will do all these isinaja.
So now that the findings are out there, or let's say the facts are out there with the government, and government said they are going to issue a white paper.
Yeah.
I asked about what can we predict that is going to happen in the next couple of weeks or days, and then the issue of basis. Was there a basis for government to have intervened in the Oka Traditionals too, or it's something that should have left for the court to decide?
The truth is that we have a law, and government must ensure that the laws are executed. The judiciary will interpret the law. By the time you bring issues before them, they will interpret the law. But the executive arm of government is to ensure the execution of the law. Why I'm saying some of these things, because people do not understand the issues that gave to issue of dethronement. I will just watch everything. He was dethroned illegally and criminally on the 14th of April 2017. But just like I said, they did not follow the Anambra State Traditional Rulers Law, which also provides that for you to dethrone a traditional ruler, first and foremost, there will be complaints. And that complaints, you must bring the complaints to the government of the state, either through the Ministry of Chieftaincy Matters and Chieftaincy Affairs. You must bring complaints, and the governor will now act on those complaints and cause for an investigation. And by the time investigation is done, the government will relate it to the State House of Assembly, and the State House of Assembly will now vote on it. And after they must have voted by 2/3 majority, the governor will now pronounce the traditional ruler dethroned and the stool vacant, and allow the community to begin a fresh process of selection in accordance with the community's constitution. Do you see the process? But these people, they did not even have recourse to the government. They did everything they did single-handedly. This faction, Ndins and Ozo, led by Chief Austin Ndigwe, what they did was, this man has breached our constitution. He started selling quota there were quotas given to Oka people that, according to them, they alleged that the man, the Ezozo too, was selling the quotas, that he was selling the community lands, that he was not being fair in land-related disputes. He allowed Catholics to be doing their dust to dust, and these were some of the complaints, and they went on in their own conclave. The Indians and also group, that faction, they were not all together. They now decided that they must act. They wrote him a letter for him to correspond. The also did not respond to them. They said, okay, we have given you correspondence which you did not, or we have sent some letters to you, did not even reply us. In that case, on 14th of April, you are now stand dethroned. It is completely in violation of Anambra. That's what the panel was saying. That not even that you did what you did not even form quorum, that you were not properly constituted, you did not also do this, you have no regard to the government, you did not even follow this. What you asked a very important question. What are we likely to see? Because the government will now issue a white paper on this, and that white paper will be now the government. I saw the governor's face yesterday. Immediately the paper was handed to him. Look at the face. That shows you now he is going to invoke the power of the law on this issue. For now, everybody has been accommodating Austin in the. I remember in one of the viral videos where the governor was telling him, "Able my man, able my friend, cool down. Cool down, cool. You remember that video where he was telling the man to cool down, that what if it is you, if it's going to be you, your community must accept you. There will be a selection process. Look at it. The issue is not about the fact that the man was dethroned. There is a selection process in Oka. If somebody is rightly dethroned, there will be a fresh process. But one man was single-handedly pronounced the king.
Okay,
it's an aberration.
So we expect the governor to move in, and this time around, if he's going to do that, of course, that will also go to prove he's great. Do you know why I'm saying this? Because there are some persons who are very, very close to the governor now, who are good friends, and they're on the side of Ndigwe. Because I was in one of the occasions where one of those persons held, that should have about 2-3 years ago, and when the man came, he was introduced as the traditional ruler of Oka. And guess what? I was one who even did that introduction, because I was given a note of
who to introduce.
who to introduce. Okay. So
I remember this Chief Austin Ndigwe gave Bianca Ojukwu a chieftaincy title, a minister of state foreign affairs, and you see how government responded to that. The commissioner for local government and chieftaincy matters reacted and said, you could not have gone to this man for such chieftaincy. That is not the rightful traditional rule of Oka, and that chieftaincy is null and void. In fact, I think it was a trigger to this commission of inquiry, because there are some people who are either acknowledging Austin Ndigwe as traditional ruler, who are close to the governor, as you said.
All right.
Who are close to the government. But you know what governor did? Let him not be imposing my thought, imposing my opinion that Austin Ndigwe. He said he is his friend. Let's now constitute a commission of inquiry. Let's find the truth, and that has been followed. And now the weight of the law is going to fall on that man, Austin Ndigwe.
So after Oka, let's see whether the satellite is going to be beamed to other communities like Northfield, Joto, because we have two persons laying claim to all these the traditional schools.
And some of their cases are in court, there's no doubt. And remember, government must also respect some cases already in court, because you cannot jump in and terminate court processes. But definitely, while they are waiting the court processes to finish, government will ensure that the laws are executed.
Okay, so with us, we'll be right back. Let's go for this very commercial break.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Onitsha ndị nwe ahịa, nke a bụ ụzọ anyị si asị unu daalụ maka ọmarịcha otu afọ nke nzikọrịta ozi. Udala Radio dị otu afọ n'ọnwa Maachị a. N'ọnwa Maachị a niile, Udala nwere onyinye pụrụ iche maka ịgba afọ ọhụrụ a. Ịzụta advert slot abụọ, inwe otu mgbakwunye onyinye n'efu. Ịnụrụ nke ọma, ohere nke mgbasa ozi ahịa, ozi ọbụla maọbụ nke program, ịkwụ ụgwọ, nweta ohere abụọ, anyị agbakwunyere gị otu. Nke a bụ ohere ị nwere ime ka ndị Ọnịcha n'obodo ndị ọzọ nụ ma mara maka ahịa gị. Gbata ọsọ ozugbo n'ihi ohere ọ pụrụ iche a malitere ugbu a ma bụrụ nke ga-abịa n'isi njedebe n'ụbọchị nke 31 n'ọnwa Maachị nke afọ a, n'ọnwa mgbakwunye afọ Udala. Maka ndebanya na ajụjụ, kpọọ anyị na 0803-350-4206 maọbụ ịbịa n'ụlọ ọrụ anyị dị n'Ọnịcha na nọmba 5 Okono Street n'okirikiri DMGS Roundabout. Ya bụ inwe ike ịkpọ anyị na 0803-350-4206 maọbụ ịbịa n'ụlọ ọrụ anyị na nọmba 5 Okono Street n'okirikiri DMGS Roundabout Ọnịcha. Udala Radio emeela otu afọ n'ọnwa Maachị a, ọkpọkọpi n'ezie. The board, management and entire staff of Anambra State Housing Development Corporation, ASHDC, Oka, warmly congratulate His Excellency, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, CFR, Oluwatuegwu, and his deputy, Dr. Onyekachukwu Ibezim, on their inauguration for a second tenure in office. This well-deserved mandate reflects the confidence of Anambra in your visionary leadership and commitment to the transformation of our state. As a key agency in housing and urban development, ASHDC proudly aligns with your vision of building a livable and prosperous homeland for all. We reaffirm our loyalty and dedication to supporting your administration's development agenda. We pray that God grants you wisdom, strength, and good health as you continue to lead Anambra State to greater heights. Congratulations once again, Your Excellency. Signed, Chike Anyono, Managing Director for Anambra State Housing Development Corporation, ASHDC, Oka.
nnukwu mmọnwụ Ọgbọ batago n'ọgbọ, nnukwu ijele nọ n'ọgbọ. Kedu ife anyị na-ekwu maka ya? It is the Curenza Curative Herbal Capsule, a product of SmartPay Global Concept Limited. It is a powerful herbal formula crafted to support your immune system and overall wellness. 100% natural with ultra advanced immune support. The natural power which enables your body to fight chronic diseases. It also looks at digestive disorders. Ogubekwe baha. Curenza na afu maka igwo ulcer, addresses arthritis, diabetes, cancer, kidney and liver issues, cures asthma, malaria, typhoid, heart diseases, hepatitis, sickle cell anemia, cholesterol, addresses colon issues, obesity and cardiovascular diseases. It is for total body detoxification, and it also addresses poor blood circulation. For more information and distributorship, you can kindly go visit our office at Obubuleze Plaza, number 154 Oka Road by Ado Girls Bus Stop, opposite Anyama Cooking Gas Station, Onitsha. To become a distributor of this powerful product, Yabondi Cholibu Distributors Maka Owu Nkanka or Curenza. Visit the office at Obubuleze Plaza, number 154 Oka Road by Ado Girls Bus Stop, opposite Anyama Cooking Gas Station, Onitsha, or call the phone number 08060752900. 08060752900. It is the Curenza, the king of herbs, and it is in your land.
Onitsha, are you ready? This Friday na full shutdown as Udala Lounge presents the Udala House Party
On lockdown.
live for MNC 16 Ridge Road GRA Onitsha. This Friday night 20th of March 2026. Your favorite OAPs go there live. Famous, Edith Omar, Prestige and others. And make you no forget live performances from Eastern Vibes, 1 Milli, Major Smooth and Homie J. Plus DJ Tantawo, DJ Youngest, DJ Famous and other top DJs go they turn up the place all night long. Make them know. Expect nothing but correct Eastern vibes, premium cruise and mad energy. Time na 9 p.m. till mama calls. And guess what? Entry na free. So call your guys, dress sharp and pull up because this party go loud well. Udala House Party, powered by Udala Radio, 104.7 FM Onitsha and MNC Lounge.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved.
Okay, thank you for staying tuned to the Radio 104.7 FM. You are listening to the Polity, and we are transmitting from Onitsha, Anambra State. My name is Franklin Ebuka, and I'm with Tony Olisambeki. He has been responding to issues. Of course, we have looked at two developments in Anambra State, and the final one there, which I'm going to prompt up. Maybe we might leave it for now. Look at other things when we now have time to come back to it. Is the fact that yesterday there was a circular that came from the government of Anambra State asking all political appointees for them to hand over to PAMSEC. So that tells you that the appointment ended. And what that signifies is that if anybody is going to act in the capacity of Anambra State government, it's going to be the governor or any of his personal aides. So if you talk about commissioners, nobody can now act in capacity of the government pending when new appointments are made. But we are hoping that in the coming days, maybe in 2 days' time, the governor should be able to announce at least SSG and maybe a few other members of the cabinet who are going to help him in the piloting of the affairs of the government before he now composes his entire cabinet. Of course, we know that by the time he nominates commissioners, the list is going to go to the House of Assembly for confirmation before they begin to act. Then in Abia State, in Ebonyi State, we saw the government proposing a legislation to regulate issues of rent, and they're saying they're not going to look back, that house agents cannot continue to make people dry. And they are saying that in this very legislation which is being proposed, if you're a house agent, if you secure an apartment for somebody, you can't take more than 2% of that rent as your commission. So if we have time, we'll talk about it. If we don't have time, of course, gloss over it. But now I want us to look at a development that caught the attention of a Vanguard newspaper, talking about the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. If you look at that very report that talked about how much Nigeria has spent, on security in the past 15 years, this very story tells you about how the report shows that, despite the allocation of about 32.88 trillion naira to defense in the last 15 years, representing roughly 12.5% of the 262.834 trillion naira national budget within this very period, Nigeria has remained trapped in protracted insecurity. Now, looking at this very budget, if you're going to do the equivalence in dollars, it's going to be 44.641 billion US dollars. This is what Nigeria has spent in the last 15 years. Now, if you look at this very money, then look at the result we have or where we are. Can you say that we got value for our money in the area of defense and security, Tony?
Franklin, you mentioned so many things I believe we may need to talk about, but we'll start with this recent one. What you did say, or what you did mention about the house rent saga in most places in the southeast, but we're going to look at Abia State and possibly other states, and also what is going on in Anambra State, what the governor also directed the appointees to do. We're going to talk about it, but let's talk about this one quickly, the issue of the security, where we have spent so much money. And you asked, have we seen value for the money spent on the issue of security? The answer is no. We have not seen value for that. And if you look at it, I said security is purely business for some people. That is more reason. If you look at that amount, is staggering. I will tell you that it is quite staggering. In 15 years, according to the reports, because the reports measured or captured 15 years period, and the amount expended. I would also want to know if not just budgetary allocation, the releases, because we also have a gov spend that monitors releases. I don't usually put my neck in budgetary allocation. At times you may budget most of these things, they may not even come to fruitions. It's important. It is really, really disturbing, mind-boggling. Look at the amount in question. It tells you where we are and where we think we are going. We have spent 32.8 trillion on defense in 15 years. We know we have insecurity everywhere. Many critics believe that these 32.8 million, or trillion, not million, 32.8 trillion is not just eye-watering, but many places are still burned, farmers displaced, people abducted, kidnapping is on the rise. You asked, where did 32.8 trillion, where did it go? Remember, if I had studied the report by Vanguard, I would have known if the amount is budgetary allocation or actual releases.
It's based on allocation.
If it's based on allocation, you wouldn't say, because there had never been a time Nigeria budgeted this and exactly what it was budgeted was released. It has never been a time.
Yeah, if you go through the report, you see that they did what they call conservative, estimation, because of course anybody who knows how budgets run, you should know that in a country like Nigeria, where we have a culture of we make a budget, at the end of the day we might not even implement it up to 60%.
I'm telling you, the 2025 budget, we are told that no release has been made on capital projects. No release, and it will be factored into what we are saying. We are not going to base our considerations on what was budgeted. We are concerned about what was actually released. We can trace it, we can track them. There are those who are doing it, and we believe by the time we get the actual figure of what was released, probably we can make a categorical statement. But the statement we'll be making now, it will be speculative. By the time we get the real details, we can make categorical statement. But even at that, we will tell you that we spent and we have been spending humongous amount in insecurity, on defense, on some of these things without seeing tangible result as expected. That's why I said, you know what? Let's have state police, let's have local government police, let's have town police. Let's break this thing down so that people would also be able to hold those who have these funds accountable. Nobody's holding these people accountable. Nobody. Can you hold the Ministry of Defense? Can you hold some of these service chiefs? Can you hold them accountable? You cannot. Even when all these do come higher, they'll be asked to resign. It's only in Nigeria we have a culture where somebody will steal public fund. The person will be retired. And that's all. Without prosecution, without the person facing capital punishment. We have seen this culture and it's not taking us anywhere. That is why we have the propensity, this urge of stealing public funds. People would always do it if there is no deterrence. I have said it many times. I'm not going to continue to say this. Let's quickly talk about what the governor of Anambra State did say yesterday. It's important. Before now, even though we know that it actually came quite late, but you should have known that by now, by law, if you go by the provision of the Constitution, once the governor's term in office comes to an end, automatically all political appointees, both the special advisors, the commissioners, head of different agencies of the state, except those that have tenure system, they cease to come to an effect. Section 193, subsection 1, talks about things like this, and we can go on and that. The governor is even more magnanimous to tell them to hand over after he has been sworn in, but ordinarily it would have come before swearing in. But we know very well that could be his magnanimity. That's by the way. Then we talk about house rent in Abia State.
Ebonyi State.
Ebonyi State, rather. House rent. I must commend that Governor Nwifuru for this step he wants to take. We have seen something like that. Do you know we have tenancy law in Anambra State? People don't even know.
Yep.
There was a day I was searching our laws. I was there. I was digging. I discovered we have this law. Some lawyers don't even know. I called a few of my lawyer friends, and many of them were telling me they don't even know about this law. But we thank the government because they have been trying to catalog our law so that people who are not in the know should have a look at that law. But we need amendments. I don't know when that law was enacted, if there is anything like a goji, a good lawyer,
Ega agreement.
Ega agreement. That law must be amended, and the new amendment will criminalize, not banning. If you ban something, it means it's not allowed. When you criminalize something, you know what it means. If you try it, you are going to go to prison. That is when you criminalize something. I don't like banning something. Don't ban it. Criminalize it in the law. Anybody who attempts it, who does it, will smile in prison. What is a gorge? You see, sometimes I've seen some of these, we call them agents, right? That's what they call them. They will tell you 800,000 to pay 600,000. I say, which one is 800 to pay 600? I don't understand that language. They say, you don't know what is 800 to pay 600. That 600 is the normal rent. That 800 is the ego lawyer and all that. And who even for once pronounced that agents will take 10% commission? I've seen most times they will tell you, agent commission is 10%. So some will even take 15%. Some will even take 20%. But
Tony, you know, okay, because this time around let's go practical to share experiences. You know, I have seen an apartment of 700,000 naira yearly, but they will tell you that for you to park in, you have to pay 1.1 million. Then after the 1.1 million, you pay 250,000 naira as an agent fee. So you see that what we are going to pay in additional fee is even almost the rent for 1 year. And the funny thing is that if you're not in a hurry, you want to bargain, you want to explore others, you might end up searching for non-eternity and you can't find any apartment.
That is very problematic. You're right. It seems that they have a union. I don't know if they have a union. Even mad people have union. Everything now, you know, people have association, a way of trying to protect their common business and fraudulent interest, because the interest is fraudulent. You know what? Someone will tell you, Gagonu cement. you will not be exploitative because you are given approval by government for you to build. For you to build on any space, government has granted approval, and the land upon which you are building on belongs to the government. Government can revoke it at any time and use it for another thing. Go and read Land Use Act of 1978. Having said that, and the issue of, just like the one you mentioned, Franklin, situations where somebody will pay 250,000. Some will tell you you will pay caution fee. You've not seen that one?
Yeah, we've seen
caution fee of 150,000. Situation by the time you will be leaving the house. We will see if we can use that amount to repaint the house for the next.
Not refundable. Once the pay is gone.
Oh, that one is not refundable.
It's not refundable.
Oh, the caution fee.
Caution fee is meant to be, money that is going to be kept in trust in case you damage anything. They use the money to repair.
These things are illegal.
But this time around, it has become part of the fee you pay, and landlord keeps it whether you break anything, destroy anything or not. Once you're leaving, you're not living with anything. Now, I saw a story of.
Tell me something. I
saw a story of somebody who secured an apartment in Port Harcourt.
Okay.
Now, in that apartment, there is a mirror by the corridor.
Okay.
And the young lady came in and decided to make the apartment the way is going to suit her.
Okay.
And after doing all the renovations, decorations, arrangement, she removed that mirror at the corridor.
Okay.
And guess what? Landlord told her that she must return the mirror.
Okay.
If not, she's going to pack out. All the money she spent on renovation is gone. This is the reality of Nigerians.
We need to protect the people. It is the duty of government to protect the people. If not, just look at Thomas Hobbes. Thomas Hobbes, Mr. President referenced yesterday when he was with the King Charles. We know Thomas Hobbes, he was the one that says without strong government, life will be nasty and brutish. It was one of his popular statements. And Mr. President was talking about Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, Magna Carta, the very law that said that monarchism or whatever you call them is not, the powers are not absolute. I'm not going to talk about that because that's not what we're talking about. We are now talking about these issues. We must have strong government to protect the people. Every state in Southeast must go back and look into the issue of tenancy law in the state. Lagos has done something like that. This issue of ego agreement, ego lawyer, these things must be criminalized and the law must provide how it will be structured. Like the one in a Ebonyi State are saying that agent will take how many percent commission?
2%.
2%. Agent abulonya lolo. You can't just be doing agent service for whatever reason and think that you can exploit unsuspected. So for people to get accommodation is becoming problematic. And we are, of course, many landlords know you cannot eject a tenant just the way you want. There must be a process, and that process will begin at the court. We know that one for sure. That's the only one everybody. And most times, what they do these days, they will go to the court and even pretend or give impression that you've been served where you've not been served, and they basically so just to eject you. Before you come back, you will see your properties outside. And now using a second court to pull that now you were given notice. You did not come to court process. You did not, they do all manner of things, and the new law must find a way to say that before somebody is ejected, don't go and paste the process and say you got it from the cost of service and all that. The person, if the person is evading, somebody, situations where somebody will come back and everything is out. I second court to pull. They hid it. Paste here in a wall. They will snap it and take it. That's what they do. They will paste it at the person's door, snap it, just go see the judge or the magistrate. We have served this person with even evidence. They do all these things.
So, Sonny,
we know all these things.
In the Southeast, Enugu State government was the first to make this very move. I can recall that the state has passed a new tenancy law, and that law is meant to, protect citizens from the exploitation by landlords and their house agents. If you look at that very law, it provides for 10% as commission for agents for any apartment the person secures. Then that same law abolished caution fees. Those extra deposits that you get to make. Then it also looked at the issue of additional charges, where it restricted additional charges beyond rent and approved fees. It also talked about punishing offenders with up to 500,000 naira fine or 6-month jail if anybody gets to breach this very law. Okay. It also regulates eviction processes, to prevent arbitrary eviction. This is in Enugu State, and the law has been passed. The essence of that law is to protect tenants from excessive charges, reduce high cost of rent in Enugu State, bring order to agency and legal practices in that very housing sector. But if anything has changed ever since this law was passed in Enugu, we cannot say. In Lagos State, there's also a law. People are still going through that same hardship, and now a boy is towing this direction. And the question has been, the housing challenge we have, is this something that is going to be solved by legislation, or this is something we have to look beyond the surface and look at the foundational issues? Because it appears that what we are dealing with now is the symptoms of housing deficit we have. Because you have these very laws, they are out there. These laws have banned this, criminalized this and that. So by the time you have found an appointment that suits you and you think you can afford it, then the issue becomes agent fee. It's same by as you are stepping out somebody's
paying. So let me say this. Frankly, we have a population density in Anambra State. I'm using Anambra State for an example. And the population, how many people in a square kilometer? I think about 2,000 people. The last I checked, in a square kilometer. That tells you how small the landmass is. Anambra State has about 4,800 or 900 square kilometer. I think after Lagos is the smallest. Lagos is number one, the most, the one that has the smallest landmarks, followed by Anambra State. So, having said this, we know very well that even if government starts building housing schemes and all these things, take for instance, go to Aguleri, go to Buleri, go to many places, build these things. How many people will you still accommodate? You will still have deficit because of the growing number of population and the rural urban migration. You're gonna have it unless we start developing some of these rural areas, and which is something that's gonna take time. But in the meantime, once government set up this, there should be a commission that has such mandate to go after these exploitative landlords. We must encourage people to build, because some of these people building these houses are not building it majorly to make money out of it. As retirement benefits, that's what many of them have it for. Retirement, but you can't have such buildings for retirement. There are those that have it for business. They can sell it off at any time to use the money and convert the money for something more lucrative. There we have many reasons why people build house, not necessarily to be collecting money from land, from tenants, not necessarily. There are other reasons, we know this, but there is need to protect people. There should be a commission that go after these exploitative landlords. Just like you said, if somebody says Nomankwe Goji, as the person is stepping out, the next person is paying and the landlord is collecting, and the landlord will deny that he never asked. And then we will ask the person who is claiming that he had asked for this to show evidence. The most important thing, calls must be recorded, conversations must be recorded, every agreement. There are those that will not give you receipts. They don't issue receipts. Illegal, are there any receipts? There are those that even issue receipts. They're quite illegal. Oh yeah, but came up when I receipt. The illegal. And the worst is people any receipt. Illegal. So when you use it to come after them, I say, your mind, I got it there. It tells to them, so they have a way of escaping the hand of the law, the weight of the law. The issue is we must have a way. See, if you say, let us go and talk to our people are exploitative naturally. People want to make much gain from little effort or much effort. I'm not denigrating those that build.
And then for us to cap off this, because I pity Nigerians. And those ones I do pity are the ones who are the lower level of society, because somehow
they suffer a lot.
If you are looking for an apartment in Nigeria, you suffer, because if an agent tells you I have an apartment somewhere, or Sagibia, a balomoto, Nyalomoto blue fuel, or Bonogina Ginagiso, ye, Nguaga Banya fuel, Iluo de, or Saginaga Kupan has no looking house fee. No, more coin is looking house fee. Because before they show you the apartment, you still pay them for them to show you one kiosk and tell you now, it's only when you meet people who are into real estate who understand what it means. That is the only time you will see things being done the proper way.
We must regulate real estate business in our state. We must have legislation. Must have commission that ensure that these legislations are being enforced, that people who exploit, people who do this, and if it is known, they don't need to wait for complaints. Once there is an apartment, they will start putting their ears on the ground to know what they are demanding. Don't wait. When you wait for complaints, the person who may come up with such complaints, the other person who is exploiting may do everything to ensure the person has no evidence. Once apartments do spring up, the commission will go down to find out what could be the possible demands, and once the building will be sealed. Okay. See, if we go this way, people will learn lesson. Enugu State should reduce that commission's fee from 10%. At least the maximum should be 5%. 5%.
Okay, let's go for this very commercial break. After it is going to be time for you to join the conversation. Don't forget that the phone lines are 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Stay with us.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, Opa Chichane Tozialo. Wendy's bread, Mama Papa they like Wendy's bread, Chichane Nyanduo. Wendy's bread, even children they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, you get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Onitsha, are you ready? This Friday na full shutdown as Udala Lounge presents the Udala House Party
On lockdown.
live for MNC 16 Ridge Road, GRA Onitsha. This Friday night, 20th of March 2026. Your favorite OAPs go there live. Famous, Edith Omar, Prestige, and others. And make you no forget live performances from Eastern Vibes, 1 Milli, Major Smooth, and Homie J. Plus, DJ Tantawo, DJ Youngest, DJ Famous, and other top DJs go they turn up the place all night long. Make them know. Expect nothing but correct Eastern vibes, premium cruise, and mad energy. Time na 9 p.m. till Mama calls. And guess what? Entry na free. So call your guys, dress sharp, and pull up because this party go loud well. Udala House Party, powered by Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha and MNC Lounge. Onitsha, una done ready for the biggest Easter shutdown. Golden Promise Entertainment presents Easter Golden Fiesta. One massive night of music, comedy, and correct vibes. It happens Sunday, April 12, 2026 from 5 p.m. till dawn for Onitsha Mall ShopRite. Host for the night, MC Bim and MC Feargod. Music policy by Emmy Black, Ivado, and Sparkle T. Laughter with comedians like Twin Parrots, Prince Neche, 5 Naira, Dibia Update, Holy Baba, and Sister Equitos. Plus live performances from Mweze and CJ Ozugo, and DJs will go keep the party hot all night. DJ Staffy, DJ Y Barrow, DJ Two Step, DJ Tony Banks, DJ Freezy, and DJ NK. Tickets Tickets they go fast. Regular 2,000 naira, VIP 5,000 naira, VVIP table for 5 200,000 naira. For sponsorship, bookings and enquiries, call 0814 394 2802 or 0808 441 5156. Easter Golden Fiesta, the party we on nature go talk about. Supported by Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Onitsha ndị nwe ahịa nke a bụ ụzọ anyị si asị unu daalụ maka ọmarịcha otu afọ nke nzikọrịta ozi Udala Radio dị otu afọ n'ọnwa Maachị a. N'ọnwa Maachị a niile Udala nwere onyinye pụrụ iche maka ịgba afọ ọhụrụ a. Ịzụta advert slot abụọ inwe otu mgbakwunye onyinye n'efu. Ịnụrụ nke ọma, ohere nke mgbasa ozi ahịa ozi ọbụla maọbụ nke program ịkwụ ụgwọ nweta ohere abụọ anyị agbakwunyere gị otu. Nke a bụ ohere ị nwere ime ka ndị Ọnịcha n'obodo ndị ọzọ nụ ma mara maka ahịa gị. Gbata ọsọ ozugbo n'ihi ohere ọ pụrụ iche a malitere ugbu a ma bụrụ nke ga-abịa n'isi njedebe n'ụbọchị nke 31 n'ọnwa Maachị nke afọ a n'ọnwa mgbakwunye afọ Udala. Maka ndebanya na ajụjụ kpọọ anyị na 0803 350 4206 maọbụ ịbịa n'ụlọ ọrụ anyị dị n'Ọnịcha na nọmba 5 Okono Street n'okirikiri DMGS Roundabout. Ya bụ inwe ike ịkpọ anyị na 0803 350 4206 maọbụ ịbịa n'ụlọ ọrụ anyị na nọmba 5 Okono Street n'okirikiri DMGS Roundabout Ọnịcha. Udala Radio emeela otu afọ n'ọnwa Maachị a, ọkpọkọpi n'ezie.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, you're listening to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha. My name is Franklin Nebikanda with Tony Olisambeki. We have to go to the phone lines now to take your input into today's conversation. 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Good morning.
Yes, a wonderful morning to you, Franklin Olisambeki. Good morning to our listeners across the globe. I'm Abudika and I'm bringing from Onitsha.
Okay, go on, DK.
Going straight to the point here. First of all, the event yesterday, I must have to say welcome to the second tenure of the governor. Very interesting outing without one drama or the other. But we keep our fingers crossed, expecting more than he has done already, because a lot needed to be done here. We are talking about the agents in Enugu State. We are not left with any other options here. The landlords are doing what they know how best to do. When you approach them, they will say that the Anambra State government increased the outlook. That's the property rate which they pay on their tax, thereby making an empty land when you want to rent for a shop or anything you want to do to skyrocket. So I think the right thing should be done at the right time, and let's get Anambra State working. Let me say, nobody is in court with the governor, and I don't think he has any disturbances. So that let me also react to the statement credited to him that people shouldn't waste their votes. What we should be talking about is not the issue of wasting of votes, rather free, fair, credible elections. Okay? From where it's coming, people are now insinuating that the 2027 is not undusted. I think the speaker can give more light to it, being the saying and hearing from the office now, being given on the spot assessment. But to me, I think the most important thing here should be, let's have free, fair, but not that people shouldn't waste their vote voting for any candidate apart from that. So I think the support to the president, you have the right to do that. He has the vote, and his friends and loved ones who can follow him to vote. But let's, great democracy.
All right.
There are some things we do, it undermines democracy today. Where is the president? Somewhere in UK, and Nigeria is almost like a country without a leader. You didn't even hand over to your vice. The vice was not here yesterday. Now who's in charge?
Okay.
That tells you that we are in one almighty mess.
Make it summarize.
So I think let's do the right thing at the right time, that when we make some certain statements, people can read it out of it and blow it
Okay, so
Thank you so much.
Dike, before you go, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. There's something we want to find out from you. So we will appreciate if you can send the message to a line so that we can reach you later.
Okay, which of the line?
Do you have any writing material? I can call it now.
Go ahead.
Okay, 0803 812 766 11. Okay, just send the message and identify that you are DK. We are going to reach you. Thank you for calling, DK. So let's see who we have next here. Good morning. Okay, 0803 221 6973 or 0803 827 6694. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Franklin and Dr. Antonio Shambeki.
You're welcome.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Chidi Chukuma joining you from
Go on, Chidi.
the issue of landlord tenancy law, just as Dr. Tony has said, that Lagos State, that the first state that enacted that law. I'm a Lagosian. I was a Lagosian. And I must tell you that it did not work at all. It did not see the light of the day. So I'm advising the government to start setting up a low-cost house if they want to cope this problem. Because there are so many things that they cannot address. You can't just come up with a law when there are things that you're supposed to do, but you can't do it. You think of the charges for the government even before you pay, and the money you pay to the government as a landlord, and so on and so forth, keep increasing. That you want landlord to cut down the cost of the building material, and so on and so forth. So there is no way they can achieve it. It is just a contract between two parties. The government cannot come into that at all. So all these regulations they are talking about, the only way out is to set up a low-cost house. Lagos State, they have tried. When they tried to make it, that they did not succeed. That is why we have something like a Jaconde estate. We have other states. There are so many of them, even Gowon estate and the first park farm, and so on and so forth. All
Okay.
these are the government effort to make sure in a different jurisdiction, private people doesn't build a house for tenants. It is a corporate body and the government that they build houses, low-cost house for their citizens. So you can't just sit in your own, making your own money, increasing tariff and the tax and so on and so forth. Then you want to force the landlord.
Okay.
Their effort and everything.
Mr. Chukwuma.
Look at the cost materials. And
Mr.
so on
Chukwuma.
and so forth. Go and price the price of the cement.
Mr.
And we
Chukwuma,
just
can you hear me?
tell the landlord what to do.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your input. Good morning.
Yeah. Badmos, I'm calling from a name.
Go on, Mr. Badmos.
Please, I want to ask Tony Olisambeki. Previously, how much are landlords paying for Anambra State, the land use act or whatever they call it? How much are they paying during the time of E2P, Obiano, and now that Rudo is the governor? So I just want him to give us the illustration, how much landlords are paying and how much they are paying now. Then, on the other side, the swearing-in inauguration, I was so disappointed. You know, when the governor stepped in, he said that Anambra people should address him as Shalewamba, that he cannot attach any chieftaincy title. But today, he is answering Onwatwebu and other things.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
So, are you making reference to what we discussed yesterday or the one we discussed today?
The one you discussed, I'm talking about the swearing in.
We didn't discuss it today.
Really?
We did not.
But you touched it a little bit.
We didn't talk about swearing in. We didn't.
Okay. Then what I'm saying in essence is this. Tony should tell us how much landlords are paying to Anambra State government for any four-story building that is in Fege or in Odabo or anywhere in Onitsha and the environment. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Can you hear me? Good morning to you.
Yes, we can hear you. Go on, sir.
All right. Good morning to you, Speaker. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The voice of Chris Bishop is. I'm calling from Awada this morning.
Go on, sir.
I think this is one of the news that I think that, or one of the work I think if Anambra State, if they can be able to put it in order, I think it will be one of the greatest news. You know, one of the greatest things that this government being led by Professor Charles Kumasoludo is doing correctly in Anambra. I think this matter of housing, the charging house rent, agent fee is become something unbearable. Some people are locating to their respective village. They are being forced to go back to their village. The common man can no longer cope with what we are seeing from this landlord. Some of them that are talking about the cost of the materials is so costly. Some are doing that even in the house that was built in 1990, 1995, 2000, when all these things wasn't costly. And the kind of gorge this thing is for, I keep on saying, I lived in Jos. The first time I came down to this Onitsha, and I heard about this gorge. Unfortunately, it happens to be somebody that was living in Bukuru Jos. He's the owner of the building. And I asked him, you live in Jos? He said, yes. I said, you really hear or heard of this when you were in Jos? He said, this is Anambra State. I said, what happened in Anambra State? Why are we the cause of our problem? This is fraud. Please, government should know what they do about all these things.
Right.
The poor men are suffering. We don't have job. We don't have nothing. Nothing is working in this country, and the house rent is going so high. You can't even look at it. It's a time they make in a yard. It's a quarter. It's what because it's go check up 150,000, 200,000. The building, the house rent now high. Now the government told us to go.
Okay.
Please,
thank you, Mr. Chris.
Our help. We are dying. We are no work to them. We are grateful to you people. Please let these things go direct to them, to their hearing. Let them come to the end of the poor man.
All right.
We are dying.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Maybe if we have time, we'll make some clarification regarding this issue of attempt to regulate some things in the real estate sector. Then let's quickly go to our Facebook page. A couple of them we are going to acknowledge. Austin Mugu, he posted from FM Onitsha, and he says, on federal government has unveiled plans to transform correctional centers into agricultural hubs. I want them to add, if you don't have any skill, you don't have any business to be employed in Nigerian police. Even okay. Maybe I assume that maybe we were trying to write, even they should have plans to train the existing ones and engage them in one police, one skill. And he says, in the years back, we used to go to police poultry to buy eggs, chicks and chickens. They used to have police clinics, police football clubs and other sports activities. Even police can have engineers like building engineers, roads construction engineers, technicians, and what have you not. All this is for them to be busy and make money by themselves than for them being everywhere collecting money from citizens. Okay, thank you for dropping by. Anoms Amy says, the issue of house rent and the exploitative tendencies of both landlords, agents, and property managers are really criminal in nature. Some agents will take you several properties that don't suit your choice just to collect egongosi, knowing full well the kind of house you want. The very first time I heard about egoji, I was like, this is wickedness and the money is on the high side. Okay, Chukwemeka Anthony, thank you for the congratulating message on our 1-year anniversary. And he goes on to say, I wish you many more amazing years in service to humanity. Okay. Thank you for following us. The Collins Uzoma, thank you for watching from Onitsha. Kelechi says, obviously Nigerian government, okay, not actually, obviously Nigerian independence is not visible. Our leaders have reduced their values and that of the country to nothing by consistently seeking for help in other countries. When will other countries run to Nigeria for help? Must we continue to be a begging state? Secondly, state government should regulate house rents, especially in Delta State. 100% technological approach is the only solution to insecurity. Governors should invest on big surveillance cameras that will cover their various states. Thank you for the message. Sebastian Igwe from Guabosi says the renaming of Linka Road, now known as Ichie Mekanyako Road, honestly, I don't know why people are not clapping for Governor Chukwuma Soludo as one of his achievements in second term in office. I suggest that he should spread such tentacles to some other roads in the state, thereby naming most of our roads and streets with the names of our political elites. And Celestine is the question, says the landlord tenancy law. How about Anambra State? That's supposed to be the headquarters of exploitation by greedy landlords. Or are the lawmakers comfortable with what is going on in Onitsha, Anambra State at large? Or probably they don't want to look in that direction, probably because they themselves are in the business of house rent racketeering. Okay, Master Bay, Dr. Mr. Molebara Dandolas, Sabina Tabo, Chukwemeka Anthony, Jose Onyebuchi, Onochukwu Emmanuel, Onyekanemeka, Master Bay, Rotrat Obia Wike, Chukwu Christopher, and so many others. Please, thank you for all the inputs you made this very morning. Certainly we have to summarize, but one thing is very, very true. I think if you look at most of these tenancy laws we have seen, they are laying more emphasis on the arbitrary charges, not basically the house rent that a landlord fixes. A landlord fixes a house rent for 600,000 naira for 2-bedroom apartments.
Yes.
But once you're moving in, you have additional charges.
That's
there.
the problem.
You pay lawyer, you pay for agreement fee.
That's what we are saying.
You pay for God. The issue is not on the actual rent; it's on those extra charges that people do.
Exactly, you have clarified it. We are concerned more, not that we are not going to be concerned about the actual rent, because there are some rents that are exploitative, but that is not the major concern. The major concern now is the additional fees. They must be criminalized. I've said it many times. Somebody was saying, if I want to go for Oja, I go for Oja. I will go to my Osumo village. We'll do Oji there. I can be in an urban area. You are telling me Oji. And somebody was talking about grant rent as being reason for some of the. You can't relate grant rent and then all these additional fees. Agent or grant rent, call lawyer, grant rent, call caution fee. See, let's be civil. I don't like sometimes some of us to be mischievous. We are not talking about the real rent. And even the ground rent, somebody was asking, is calculated by, I think it's calculated per square meter. That is calculated by per square meter. And the person was asking me, before, now. From the reports I have, it's not even expensive. The ground rent is not expensive. If you are told the amount to now, you will say, or if I can, it's not. It's calculated per square meter. I will get the actual amount. There's a one I have here. I don't want to say it because I want to verify. I will get the actual amount for per square meter. And these things are not as big as you think.
Okay, so certainly we have to leave. It was in this Onitsha that I discovered that if you move into an apartment, you have to bring certain things to identify yourself as a tenant in a building.
Yeah.
I never knew that something like that existed.
No, definitely, because for you to be a tenant, you must bring certain materials that show that you are who you think or who you claim you are.
Like when you say materials, what are you referring to?
You must bring your ID card.
No, that's
your
not
national identification number.
That's what I mean. The thing is this.
Okay, you are not.
I discovered here that if you move into an apartment.
Okay.
So that apartment already, you have tenants there.
Okay.
So they normally have their meeting.
Okay.
For by end of the meeting.
That one is more like, I think it's not mandatory.
No, it's not. It's
not mandatory.
It's an arrangement for the other compound. But I discovered that it's something very common here.
It's just like you visiting somebody. Remember what we are actually concerned about, making something mandatory and compulsory and enforcing it. The one we are talking about, where you park into a new compound and possibly you present manya angara and other things to them, they welcome you. If you say you don't have anything, nobody will do anything. They will still welcome you.
I've seen where they insisted. You must bring those things.
If they insisted, it's criminality. But if it is a tradition that normally, if you come into a place, you need to be welcome. You present it in well, in common. Just like if somebody comes to your house, either you may have something to present to the person, you may not have, and when you don't have, you tell the person you don't have. It's just that kind of tradition. I don't have anything against it, but where I have something against it is when it becomes compulsory.
Okay, so on that very note, we end today's program, and we thank you for always being there for us and always taking part in all our programs. By 12 is going to be news at noon, and then 12:30 is going to be Cherry Box. So thank you for always being there. My name is Frank Nebika. Good morning.